This is going to be an extremely busy month. I have to watch 104 soccer games, follow the pregame, the postgame, yell useless opinions at the TV. It's a lot. So I knew that when it comes to screening for colon cancer, the choice was clear. The Cologuard Plus test. It can be used at home and can only take 15 minutes, so I can do it during halftime and not miss any action. If you are 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about screening for colon cancer with the Cologuard test. You can also request a prescription at Cologuard.com.
And we're live on match day as Doug reaches for a buffalo wing. He's got it! Oh, and he's gone for a can of Pepsi too! What a finish! There's no doubt about it. It just tastes better. Match days deserve Pepsi.
Hey business owners, we know you know the importance of maximizing every dollar. With the Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business American Express card, you can make your expenses work just as hard as you. From afternoon coffee runs to stocking office supplies and even team dinners, you can earn miles on your business purchases. Plus, you can earn 125,000 bonus miles for a limited time through July 15th. The Delta SkyMiles Reserve Business Card. Check out the new card design at www.delta.com/Spotify Business. Minimum spending requirements and terms apply. Offer ends July 15th, 2026.
This is the Rumors Are True podcast, brought to you by Pantheon Media Network.
Yo, this is Joe Mustin from Beloved, Advent, and The Almost, and you are listening to the Rumors Are True podcast.
Welcome, this is Jeremy Allen Gould, and I'm coming to you today to confirm between God and of man that the rumors you have all heard are true. I started this podcast to have a platform for the bands and artists that I've worked with in the past, as well as new musicians and artists that influenced myself and many others. The Rumors Are True podcast is an opportunity for the artists to tell their story their way. I'm still in the business of confirming rumors. I still love a good conversation, and I still freaking love music. So thanks again for joining me on this journey, and I hope you like what you hear. With that said, the rumors are definitely true. Hey, welcome back to this latest episode of the Rumors Are True podcast. My name is Jeremy, and today I welcome James and Jon Tuttle. You know James and Jon from the bands Codeseven and Telescreen. Awesome conversation with these two guys. It's incredible to hear their journey through music as well as their upcoming future. So I hope you enjoy this latest episode with James and Jon Tuttle. James and Jon, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us, Jeremy.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Absolutely, man. Let's talk about what's current in you guys' worlds. What's new in your world? Let's go with you first, Jon.
Just the daily grind, working, paying bills. Nothing too exciting. Me and James have a shop together, a print shop. So, which we've been running, I don't know how many years now. It's been a while, at least 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And we work together every day. And, yeah.
What is it? How did you guys get into it?
Always together.
How did you guys get into that?
Originally, we were looking for a way to make money while touring, and like internet stuff seemed a logical way to be in a van and try to
Make a living.
Pay the bills and still stay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it just kind of started with that. And then, we've always done merch, T-shirts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it just kind of
just made sense.
Yeah.
I learned how to do like a lot of the design stuff, and website building and whatnot through the band. I think like so many other bands, you learn these weird skills to help your band out. And then, later in life, they can kind of come in handy.
Yeah.
They definitely did. Learning how to do design work and whatnot, Photoshop and
That's awesome.
web building and all that stuff. Stuff I did for the band, shirts and stuff, and then just kind of carried it over.
Yeah.
Eventually into
But we really
printing.
don't print for bands, which is kind of
that is
weird.
odd.
We do. Yeah. It's we do direct to garment printing, and it's more expensive than screen printing. But you can do one shirt at a time.
That's what he was
Full
saying.
color,
That's so
no
cool.
screens,
That's really
and,
good.
Yeah. So
That's awesome. James, tell me
But it's
what
awesome.
you got going on. I know you kind of obviously work together, but anything new in your world?
Yeah. I'm just, besides work, just obsessed with guitars and learning how they get built.
That's
and,
rad.
Just guitars.
That's
really.
right. I'm not a
And being
I'm
a
not a
dad.
musician, so I don't get into that. But my father-in-law is like obsessed with something like that. He loved playing guitar, so he's like the intricacies of everything. I'm just like, make it sound rad.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like just everything about it. It's just fascinates me. And that's definitely my main focus
Yeah.
outside of work is studying.
What's your favorite
guitars
guitars?
and stuff like that.
Both of you.
Well, we had an endorsement with PRS,
Oh, nice.
and they're absolutely amazing. But right now, the Charvel, this super stock Charvel I have is my favorite.
That's awesome. John, do you have one too?
For sure.
Yeah, I'm using for I don't know, close to a decade now, the Gibson Midtown Custom, which is well, it's right here, but the cat's on my lap, so I can't get it. But it's a semi-hollow Gibson.
Very cool.
It's kind of been my go-to, but it's a flat top, which I really like, kind of like a Junior, Les Paul Junior.
Okay.
But yeah, it's kind of a weirdo. Like not many people know about it. They didn't make it for very long, but I freaking love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool that you both kind of play the different brands, I guess, if you will. But the way you guys write, it's just cool that they go together well, I guess I should say. And I know with pedals and everything, I'm sure you can make anything sound good. But it's just that's awesome. You got your own favorites, but I'm sure they're both incredibly awesome. So.
Definitely.
Let's talk about growing up for you guys. Obviously, music is a big part of your life. Maybe some of those bands, some of those records, some of the influences, maybe even shows. Let's start with you, Jon. Kind of just bring me through some of those initial bands and records that kind of obviously hit you hard.
Man, it was the hair metal. I think is really what grabbed both of us. Initially in the 80s, those early metal records, man, we loved so much. Motley Crue, Shout the Devil, anything that was on MTV that was heavy, it was pretty big for us. Bon Jovi, Slippery and Wet. And I think that's what got us into wanting to play guitar. And the shredders were everywhere, you know. In all the music videos, it was just shred, shred, shred. And it's like, whoa, I want to do that. So it's, you know, when the grunge scene came in, like neither one of us were really into that. Like we were knee deep into the shred. Metal. I think at that point we were probably in middle school when grunge was just starting to kick off. And then we got like Rust in Peace from Megadeth, which was massive.
Great record.
A huge, big deal for us. And then it was always find the next... What that's cool, but is there something heavier? Yeah. We always wanted heavier. You know, progressing from hair metal to maybe heavy metal to thrash, speed metal.
Thrash.
And then you find Earache, and then it's like Entombed.
Napalm
Carcass,
Napalm
Death. So that was anything the more heavy and extreme and terrifying to parents, like that's what we wanted.
That's awesome.
And Rust in Peace was a big one. For that was the record I feel like we crossed over to like the thrash world and just like went crazy for. But
Anthrax, State of Euphoria.
Yeah. Was there any other stuff, James, that you liked that wasn't something that your brother liked, or are you guys pretty much just all in on everything?
It's the same. Well, yeah, it's pretty much the same. And beyond the thrash and death metal, the shred guitar scene, the Shrapnel Records stuff, the Vinnie Moores, Malmsteens, and Tony McAlpine, all of that stuff. We were Dream Theater too, and when their Images and Words first came out, just very into very technical guitar work.
Yeah, I think drawn to death metal because death metal it got more technical.
Sure, and
the more tech. Is the more satisfying it was. For us, I think. For I don't know why, but like the virtuoso, but also the extreme. And when you had death metal was kind of combining both of those things, it was like perfect.
Yeah. Hey, this is Jeremy with the Rumors Are True podcast. We'll pause for a word from our sponsors. Stick around. You don't want to miss what's.
This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Watch all 104 matches of the FIFA World Cup live in 4K for just $19.99 a month with 3 days free. Build your own multi-view, choose up to 3 streams, and follow player spotlights. Stay on top of every moment with live stats, highlights, and instant replays. The FIFA World Cup, streaming live on Fox One. Offers are subject to change. See fox.com for complete terms and conditions.
Next. Well, and then you got obviously you guys got into some hardcore at some point, or at least kind of a metalcore, if you will, whatever. What were some of the bands that you guys really connected with in that world? Go ahead, James.
I mean, the kind of the adjacent stuff at first, like the Biohazards, Downset,
love Downset,
kind of the New York Life of Agony. That it was on Headbangers Ball, but it was different, and you could tell it was a little different. And it came from that New York hardcore stuff, and it was 1995 Earth Crisis, Destroy the Machines.
Such a good record.
And we heard there was a documentary on TV about straight edge and how it might be bad for kids or something like that, but it was focused on Earth Crisis and the DIY scene. And that's what kind of like we were going to punk shows at this point, but there was nothing like that in our scene. And we, were like very metal stuff.
Yeah.
So when
we were like the metalheads going,
we were the metal
punk shows.
We were wearing Pantera shirts and stuff like that at the punk shows and getting made fun of. But yeah, when we heard Earth Crisis, we were like, okay, that belongs in our scene.
Yeah.
And it's super heavy, and we gravitated toward it.
The scene, the documentary, I think it was like an MSNBC thing
I think
or something.
I saw that.
Yeah, and we saw that too, and it was like the kids looked like us because we weren't really into the metal look, this skateboard look. It really is what we were. Yeah. And then going to the punk shows around here, we didn't love a lot of the music. It was like a lot of pop punk and ska, I guess, because that was a thing for a minute.
Nothing against this stuff. But.
Yeah.
But in their scene in that video that came out, it looked like our scene, and the kids all looked the same, but and Earth Crisis looked the same, but their music was so freaking heavy.
Yeah.
And the kids that like if you were to take that in our scene and the shows that were happening at the time, it was like, well, it would have never happened. They wouldn't have gone inside to even see it.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion, Earth Crisis actually did come through not terribly long afterwards, and we went to it.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of kids. Well, it wasn't the same kids. It was a lot of kids from the surrounding area who knew about it, and it was insane.
Yeah.
But that's that. I think Earth Crisis destroyed the machines, and then I'm sure James is gonna say
Snapcase
steps,
and
the
first Victory style.
Yeah.
That had that first compilation like Dead God Bloodlet. It really kind of changed everything. Really did change everything for us.
I was gonna say, because obviously you wound up being in a hardcore band essentially, or whatever you want to call it. But previous to Codeseven, you guys had a death metal band, Oppression. Did you guys play shows? Were you active, or was it just kind of well, I guess how far did that go?
Not far.
2 shows.
We played a couple of. Well, we're all in high school at this point, and I played one show called at the Rat Club, I think, in High Point, and a couple teenage parties, high school parties, and that was kind of pretty much it. And then it really was because of hardcore. It was just like
taking over.
Because we went to our first metal shows, which was like Crowbar and stuff like that, in like '93. And we just did not connect with
the metal crowds. Were the leather jackets and
LA gear.
I don't know. There's a certain there's like an attitude, like let's party, get drunk, and we just later on we would, but it wasn't. It didn't seem like us.
Yeah.
But the punk scene we started going to around '93 too. The kids putting on the shows were like 14 years old. They had. Wherever you could put a show on, you did it. They were making zines. They were making their own record labels.
Yeah.
And it was very important to them, and which was perfect for us. So we connected with the DIY.
It made more sense because we were, besides death metal, we were still loving the skateboard culture and all that stuff. Yeah. And we didn't really look like death metal kids besides maybe the shirts that we were wearing. And then when we found the punk scene, it was just like, this feels like it.
Did it feel more attainable for you guys? Like, hey, I can do this, as opposed to the metal bands being a little more, I don't know, like you said, the atmosphere.
Yeah, the what was weird when we got to high school in 11th grade. At this community, like where all the high schools would come together, and we started meeting kids from other high schools, and that's where we started to find out about this scene. Because the kids in our school weren't really into that. It was more like hip hop and rap and whatnot. And like we would hear about or even go see maybe a show at Ziggy's, which was the big club here. We go see like Life of Agony or something like that, and then you go to school and they're like, yeah, we're playing there on Friday.
Right.
And it was just like, what? The place where I just saw Life of Agony.
Inches.
Yeah, you're going to you get to play there? Like you're in high school. How did you do that? Yeah. And that whole finding out this whole DIY thing, and like while we're like working on our shred, trying to get faster to maybe I don't even know how you get a record deal or whatever doing it that way, but these kids were out there doing it and grinding already and playing at the same places we were already starting to go to.
Yeah.
And that was just like kind of a light bulb moment. It's like, this is where we need to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just way more like-minded people.
Sure.
So even though they didn't really listen to the heavier music like we did, it's just, I don't know if it's just the whole skate thing and the culture. It was like, it just made sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the beginning of Codeseven. Obviously, you guys started in this hardcore band essentially, and kind of bring me through that from both your viewpoints. And let's go with you first, James. Just the beginning of Codeseven and maybe how the band name came about, and just your viewpoint.
Well, it was kind of the oppression was pretty much Code7, and the singer of that band, Craig Holmes, he was kind of with Code7 at the beginning. Was that right, John? He was there at the beginning stages.
Maybe at the very beginning, yeah.
Right, and then we found Jeff. Me and John had just graduated high school, and Eric was still in high school. Matt was a sophomore, I think. So everybody's still young, and it was really. This alternative metal was also very interesting to us at the same time as hardcore. So we kind of discovered like Korn, and we saw the Deftones play before their first record came out. That really just blew us away. And bands like God Lives Underwater and stuff like that. But then we discovered, Earth Crisis and Snapcase, and then Sunny Day Real Estate. And Avail was always there. Avail is one of those bands that we've always loved from our scene.
Yeah.
And they played down here. They played here a lot. So, and we got to play shows with them too back then. So we kind of just took those things, kind of that alternative metal stuff, the new sound, and then the new school hardcore with a little bit of Sunny Day, and Avail, and you just put them together. And that's what the very first Code7. It's not on Spotify, called Paper and Plastic. And that's kind of like just combining everything that we loved musically, which created a really weird sound, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun, and it turned out to be very successful locally, what we were doing. So
yeah,
we got very lucky.
Very cool, John.
But that's how it kind of got going.
Yeah, John, tell me from your perspective, kind of the beginning stages.
Yeah. It was. We really wanted to combine heavy, like screaming, but with melody as well. Which, and I've said this before in other podcasts, but like it really was. It sounds crazy, but it was kind of a new concept in 1995.
Sure.
To have really extreme vocals, but then also singing. Fear
Factory.
And I feel like what's that?
Fear Factory was the first.
Fear Factory done it. I mean, obviously Faith No More would do it, and on
VOD would do it.
Yeah.
Pretty soon after.
Yeah. So, but there weren't a ton of bands really mixing the two. It felt like. So I mean, I remember thinking like that was like kind of like maybe something, a little thing to head towards that might be a little unique. That was still felt pretty fresh of an idea, even though it sounds so basic. At the time, it felt pretty fresh. So yeah, and combining Avail and Sunny Day with Earth Crisis and Snapcase basically that's what we were thinking basically.
You said it, obviously the first stuff was successful. Was the first batch of songs were they easy to write? Was it just kind of flowing out of you guys, or kind of was it stuff that looking back you're like, oh, that's not as good as I thought, or is this something you're proud of?
Well, no, it's cheesy now. We when we signed our next contract with Music Cartel, I think there's a clause in the contract that you could not put out that demo, and it's never been released. I mean, you can find it on YouTube because we're just kids, but it was successful because it's kind of weird because that new sound with like Korn and Rage Against the Machine and
sure.
Deftones and Orange 9mm, and then we took the hardcore. The new school hardcore was just about to happen. So our entire scene, the punk scene, was all Liberty Spikes and Purple Hair and stuff like that. And then overnight, it's just like everyone discovered Earth Crisis at the exact same time, and everybody started to wear the Cabal 315 tank tops,
hoodies,
and the same way with jerseys. The metal crowd. The metal crowd was they were all Pantera and Dream Theater, and they were about to discover, oh, this is Korn, and then it just kind of became like, well, who's has it sound kind of similar to either one of those? And we were the only one locally that sounded a little bit of new school hardcore, a little bit of this new metal. I hate to say that word.
It wasn't new metal yet, but
it wasn't new metal yet.
Yeah, but we were definitely Adrenaline from Deftones. We were really, really into that.
It's a great record.
I mean, when we saw them, it is one of the few times I went home after Chino said the date that it was coming out, and then I wrote it on the calendar when it got home, and I don't usually do stuff like that. And then we bought it the first day it came out, Adrenaline, and I will be honest, I was a little disappointed because the energy from the show isn't really captured on that record. It took a minute to kind of get into it because it seemed like a different band almost. From what we saw, but. And they were opening for Korn at Ziggy's, which we saw, and they had this skateboard look mix. They were really unique.
Yeah, for sure.
And we definitely liked the first record quite a bit. And if you hear Paper or Plastic, and maybe even a little Coalition, when James talks about kind of the early nu metal stuff, I mean, we had our fingers in that, but we also pulled him out really quick because that you could see kind of where it started to go.
Absolutely,
it was heading. It was before like all the copycat and clone bands came out, and we started playing around a lot through this area, and like you started to see every band with the huge jeans and doing that move that Korn does, and it was everywhere. I mean, everywhere. I've never seen a band so copied to the T than Korn, and that was all we needed to see. It was like, okay, that was kind of fun for a second while we were in high school, but we're done with this. Like,
but
you could tell it was.
Yeah,
it was
two
going
worlds
in a weird
were colliding. Two new
Sure.
things were happening in the underground, and we were just happened to be right there at the right time when our scene was switching from punk to this new school hardcore, and the metal scene was switching from Pantera to Korn, and then it just hit from both sides. And like we went from playing a little punk venue to being able to do 1,000 people at our hometown.
That's nuts.
Like within like 3 or 4 months. Like it was just being in the right place at the right time.
Wow.
So yeah, it was very successful for sure.
Real quick, band name. Where did it come from?
I think it was it a Snoop Dogg song?
No.
Like Code 187, or which was a downsell lyric, Code 187.
That's hilarious.
But I really don't know. I mean, Code Blue came up as a possible name. We wanted a name that didn't sound like metal or anything like Codeseven. Like I don't know what that is. So that was kind of the idea behind
It sounded like it could be
a
just
variety
about
of things,
anything.
which is what you kind of described as the sound of the music, which totally makes sense.
Yeah.
You also mentioned the Music Cartel, signing with that label. How does this come about? Is there any other labels interested as well? And kind of what came into your decision with signing with this label? John, you can go ahead, and then we'll go with James.
Yeah. So we have our Paper or Plastic demo that there's a local label in town from a band called Squatweiler, who they're signed to a label in New York City called Spin Art Records.
Oh yeah, great label.
Which
Pool's on that.
Yeah,
band.
they did.
Pool's on that.
Yeah,
POOLE. Yeah.
Appleseed Cast.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Cast,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't
Maybe
know.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can't remember. But so they were kind of the big band when we were coming up through our scene in Winston, and they had their own label called Huel Records. So, and we were stealing cassette tapes from the grocery store and hand dubbing our demo and just selling them at the shows. And then they came around and put it on CD and they put it in the record stores in town and whatnot. And so when they went to play CMJ in New York, they brought it and showed it to their label, Spin Art. And Spin Art was like, this is too heavy. It's cool, but this is heavier than what we do. But I'll show it to the guys across the hall, and which happened to be Earache Records.
Oh,
they were in the
wow.
same building, and they were like directly across. So they gave it to Earache, and then next thing you know, Earache is offering us a 6-record deal.
That's insane.
Which is crazy because, most just off of the demo. And I mean, Matt is probably still a sophomore. Everybody's still almost in high school except for me, James, and Jeff. Everyone else is still in high school, I think. And then this kind of falls into our lap. which was nuts. And we sent them like videos of the shows that were down here, and then we ended up playing up there too in New York. They booked something in New York that they all came out to, and we went up and hung out with them for a while. But the guy that ran that the U.S. office at Earache was Eric Lemasters, who at the time we were talking with him, he was the one trying to get us to sign. He was also in the process of starting his own label called the Music Cartel. So he was about to leave at the exact time we were about to sign. And we went through contracts with them for almost a year, wow. I think. Yeah, it was really weird. The owner of the label, Digby, there was a lot of back and forth and kind of stuff that didn't seem very cool, that we were not really happy about. So when Lemasters ended up leaving while we're under negotiations, and they're still trying to finish it up and get us on to Earache, but he's like, well, if this doesn't work out, you can come over with my new label, because I've got distribution with Caroline, I think, at the time. That was big. Yeah, and Earache had just finished their deal with Columbia, which, like Wolverine Blues and Heartwork. I think that was kind of through Columbia. They had like a deal with them through a major, and that had collapsed. And I don't think Earache had U.S. distribution at the time. Wow. Which was kind of... It's huge. I mean, they eventually got it, but like... I don't think you would have been able to get it, the record in the U.S. if we had signed for a minute anyway. They obviously got it back, but yeah. So I don't know. With half the band being in high school, and these are literally some of the first songs we've ever written on this demo, like not just as a band, but just in general. And somehow we get this crazy offer. And it was just kind of a little too much, I think, for us. Because we were really big into Earache. Like, I mean, I've got the Wolverine Blues posters that when the record came out hanging right here from 92, 93. It was a big, crazy deal with the idea of being on the same label with them. And it was a little much. So, we just killed the negotiations with Earache and went with Lemasters, which was like a 3-album deal. Way, laid back. And I think, it's was the right choice. It's hard to say for sure. Sure. I will say it was the right choice, because the band that Earache would have signed, we turned into something completely different, 2 years later. And it probably wouldn't have worked at all. That's how we ended up on Music Cartel, was through Earache.
That's awesome. James, your perspective, and that definitely, being pursued by that label, I'm sure that's going to make you guys feel incredible at the time, at least. I know it's, like you said, it didn't work out the way you guys wanted to, but what an honor, Well, kind of bring me through your perspective.
Yeah. I mean, it, with half the band still being in high school, it just gives you kind of an unneeded ego, like, wow, we just started a band, wrote some songs, and Earache's already... Like, it's insane that even happened, but it was exhilarating to go to New York City for the first time and see their office, and I kind of wish we would have signed with them just to see what would have happened. But it was too many records. They kept changing the contract up, and then and during that time, it took over a year to do that negotiation that we never signed with. We had already recorded Sense of Coalition on our own, and we paid for it ourselves. So when we do sign with Music Cartel, they've already got Music Cartel or Sense of Coalition in their hands, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it was ready to go. So.
Well, speaking of that record, kind of bring me through recording that record from both your perspectives, thoughts, memories from that recording, and let's go with you. Continue with you, James.
Yeah, it was a lot of the songs on that record were already done for Paper of Plastic. We just didn't have the money to do the to put them on that, so we just kind of used those songs, and we used one song that was on Paper of Plastic and moved it over. But there's a transition of this kind of alternative metal that's about to go hardcore, and we're listening to a lot of DC post-hardcore stuff like Jawbox and 400 Years, Engine Down's about to happen, I think, at this time. And inspired by that, but also bands like Indecision. Like we started to play shows with them during this time period, and so it's still, I still consider our teenage years. I still consider it kind of a demo record for us, and I consider the next record, Division, to be our first proper record in some ways. But I love Sense for Coalition. It is getting re-released on vinyl.
Oh, nice.
I think, with To Live a Lie, which I'm not sure when that's going to come out, but that's pretty cool just to have it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's
John, what's your perspective on A Sense of Coalition?
I mean, we funded it ourselves. We didn't, and we recorded it with our friend here in town, Doug Williams, who did our demo, Paper of Plastic. So we went back to him to do this full length. I mean, it's like, man, it's at that transitional stage where we're kind of figuring out what we're really into. You know what I mean? Like, but we're not 100. You know, like we're on our path and we're getting close, but we're not quite there. So, and some of those songs do. They're even. I mean, I don't know what this date on Spotify shows it as. What the year it came out, but because of the negotiations with Earache taking a year and then having to switch over and redo it all with Music Cartel, I mean, that record, we were sitting on that record done for probably a year to a year and a half.
Wow.
Just recorded, and we couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
So like it's way older than what Spotify, whatever the number on Spotify is, 98 maybe. It's closer to like early 97.
Yeah.
So I equate it, like James said, more to in our demo phase, and where we're kind of still getting things figured out.
Yeah. I know you guys, you know, obviously, like you said, you don't consider this maybe the first initial record, but like at the time, at the age that you guys were at, were you stoked on it? Did it turn out the way you guys wanted it to at that time?
Well, actually, when it came out and was actually released, I'm pretty sure we had Division already written and ready to go. So, LeMasters, the label owner, was just like, you turn in Sense Coalition, it gets released. We're like, okay, well, here's Division. We're ready to do the EP. Because it was two full lengths and one EP for the record deal. So we're like, here's the EP. He's like, wait a minute, guys.
That's hysterical.
So, yeah, we were just turning.
But that's because it had been sitting in limbo.
Yeah, it had been sitting for a while. But yeah, very proud of it. And you know, like locally, it really worked with our fan base in Winston, and it was very, very magical time period. And you know, it was so much fun, and the shows were amazing. The people. I mean, a lot of those people are still with us or became really close friends of ours.
Yeah,
that were coming out to those shows back then. So it's very magical when I think back on that period.
Absolutely. What was the touring like for this record? Did you guys wind up hitting the road pretty well? Who were you playing with?
Oh man, we didn't do a lot of touring. I think our first tour for that record, I think that was with Glassjaw. Was that the tour that we were supposed to do with them? There was we were friends with them.
It was around that time.
Yeah, we were friends with them. So our first tour was going to be like, because they're older band, Sons of Abraham. We were fans of, so we had a connection with them, and so it was going to be a Glassjaw, which was, you know, ex Sons of Abraham with Codeseven, and it didn't happen. It was booked. It was going to go up the East Coast through the Midwest. It is the most we've ever done at that time period, and I think Glassjaw called us like 2 weeks before that tour, and they're like, "Hey guys, we just signed with Ross Robinson's label, and we're flying out to Malibu, so we're not going to be able to do this tour." And we're like, "What?" What?
Yeah, I mean,
So-
it was
very
the
last
tour
minute.
was so close to starting.
Yeah.
And they had booked half of it, we had booked the other half. So, and then a lot of the stuff that they booked for that like fell through, or we had to scrounge.
Yeah, we scrounged. We still did the tour though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
And
did.
we met some great people like Love Lost but Not Forgotten
Yeah.
guys.
St. Louis band.
Reversal Man, we got to play with them. We did some fun stuff on that tour, and then we did stuff in like Texas with All Out War, and then
Wow.
playing the fest in Gainesville,
yeah.
Florida. And we did one of the first New England Metal Massacre festivals. So we did a lot of that kind of stuff, and a lot of fun. But no like full U.S. tour yet.
Yeah.
That will come in the next one.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Jeremy from the Rumors Are True podcast. Hang right there. Here's a word from our sponsor.
33 days, 33 episodes, no off switch. From the goals and the glory to the politics and the problems of the World Cup. If you want soccer analysis from a podcast that's been over-analysing the game for more than 20 years, then this is it. Join me, Max Rushton, and our expert team of soccer journalists every day of the tournament. Can England end 60 years of hurt, or will this be another year of falling just short? Probably. World Cup Daily, listen wherever you get your podcasts, or watch full episodes on YouTube.
You mentioned obviously having a division of labor ready to go as the EP. This is where I actually discovered you guys. Our mutual friend Adam Morgan said, "If you like Hope's Fall, you will love Codeseven." And I was like, "Okay." So I literally bought the record, and I was like, "Yes, yes, yes." And it's
Awesome.
crazy too. Just a side note, between you guys, Hope's Fall at the time, you guys are very different but very similar, and I mean that, and the melodic sense, and of course. It's just cool that whole area just, and between the Bury Me for that matter, just that melodic sound in that area, just kind of all at the same time. That's pretty wild, and each band's so incredibly gifted. But division of labor, let's talk about that. John, kind of bring me through your thoughts on this record and recording it, and kind of a memory from that.
Yeah, we I think it was I think Until Your Heart Stops, and we get compared a lot, obviously, with Cave In when we, with this record, and then when we went soft. But I think it was that one, the record before, Beyond Hypothermia, was like our really
great record,
really influential probably for us, the most out of any of them probably. But when I think we were looking for a spot to record, and Until Your Heart Stops, it just came out, and in the liner notes, it had God City as where it was recorded, and we just thought the recording quality was amazing, and we couldn't believe it, because back then there was only a couple of dudes that could really make you sound like professional, and we were just like I think even the URL might have been in the booklet, but I went to the website, members.aol.com/GodCity, and found Kurt Ballou, and and he posted his rates and everything, and I'm looking at the rates, I'm like, this is cheaper than here in Winston, and we're freaking out over the recording quality of Until Your Heart Stops, and so I started, I don't know if we called him or emailed or what. It's this is like 98, I guess. Yeah. Is it 98?
Yeah, 99? I think about that.
Yeah. So he was, Kurt was like, you want to come all the way from North Carolina? Like, that's weird. Don't you have like a punk guy down there that does recordings? And it's like, well, yeah, but they don't sound like that.
Yeah, we were the first band from out of Massachusetts that wasn't from Massachusetts to come record with Kurt.
Him. Wow.
Yeah, he was like, why would you do this? But it was great experience.
So and we loved the recording, and we had very little money. Got up there, and we were like, didn't even think about, like, we're kids. Didn't even think about, like, well, where are we gonna stay? It's like, we don't have any money, and
incredible.
Yeah, and so we just crashed at Kurt's house, and at the time he was a engineer, biomedical engineer. So he had a day job, so we could only record at nights after he got home from work. So we would just stay at his house and play video games until he got off work, and then go down to the studio and record all night.
Was Kurt into the record?
Yeah. I mean, as far as I know,
yeah,
he seemed into it, but. But yeah, I have no idea. Like if he thought it was, if he thought, I don't think it turned out like Until Your Heart Stops, because we had like 4 days maybe to do it, 5 days, and we were like, it was stressful. He was stressing out because he wants to hit this attainable thing, and we want it to sound as good as this record, but like our time is very limited. I think we ended up staying an extra day. I think he just gave us an extra day, but he was sweating bullets. Like he was pretty stressed because of everything to get done. He wanted to be as good as possible, though. And to do that, he was willing to even give extra time and an extra day just to make sure it turned out as good as it could.
Yeah.
And that's mixing and everything.
Wow.
We had like 4 or 5 days. But yeah, I remember him being very stressed, and there was tensions with us within the band a little bit too, with because we're kind of starting to go softer, even though we're just now recording it. Like things are kind of leading that way, and some of those tensions are starting to boil over. So it was maybe a little weird for him to be in the middle of that, I guess. But yeah, I think he was happy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of fun. Like he was sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No, that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, he really put himself into what we were doing, and some of the parts, like the slide guitar part, that's him playing it.
Wow.
And I would say of all the producers, which is, you have a great relationship with all of our producers or engineers and stuff like that, but he felt like he was a member of the band when we were recording with him, because he knew exactly what we wanted. And I think that's probably the only time it's ever happened was with Kurt. And I love that record. It's probably my favorite Codeseven record.
Really?
And
wow.
It just hits I think what we were trying to do, like we had a goal, like at the time it was like the super, super heavy stuff like Coalesce or Zayo and stuff like that we were all into, and then the other stuff like Voice That's Fire, Get Up Kids.
Yeah.
We were all into that stuff too, and the shows were very mixed back then too. Like you could see, Voice That's Fire and Converge on the same show. And it was the same thing. No one really, one was a little softer, one wasn't. So it was kind of like, well, let's mash these two sounds, but we purposely made it intentionally so it was a very stark cut and paste, almost like super heavy and then super mellow. And then there was no gradual pace of doing it. And we got scolded in a lot of reviews for doing that because people thought we were crazy.
It was a little jarring, I think.
Jarring for sure.
Sure.
But I think it worked. I think especially listening to it now, it definitely worked, in my opinion. So
it doesn't sound weird at all.
It doesn't sound weird.
No. I think at the time, maybe it had a little weird like, to be so heavy, then boom, you're clean. And
but Hope's Fall, you're right, did it too.
Yeah.
And but they did it a little. It was a little more. I don't know if it was a little more the screamo side with.
Sure.
It was a little different angle, but yeah, I can see why you say that. What we were doing and they were doing were a little similar.
Yeah, it's just current. I mean, all three of those bands, including yourself, I mentioned, it just seems, because I don't feel like any other part of the country had that, like that kind of pocket of that kind of music at that time. I think Poison the Well wound up coming at around that time as well, but that's, it's not Poison the Well and two other bands at once. It's just really interesting to me. I've always thought, really thought highly of the area that you guys, North Carolina area, which I'm going to be in this week, by the way, Burnsville. My wife and I are going morel mushroom hunting.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Yeah, she's obsessed with it.
Burnsville is cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool little town.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Once.
Awesome. Sweet. So it really truly sounds like this record turned out the way you guys wanted it to, especially like you said with Kurt being involved and feeling like a part of the band. And do you wish it was a longer record? Obviously with being an EP, or do you think it's perfect the way it is?
I think
it's almost a full length, personally.
Yeah,
it's
very
like 6 songs.
I think
it's like 6 songs.
Yeah, we had in our contract we had to do an EP, so there was really no other option. So we had just done a full length. So, but I kind of wish
more than we should have probably. But
we put more onto this than most EPs. I think Eric Lemasters was even like, "This is almost a full length, guys." And
That's cool.
we just had the music. So, but yeah, I kind of wish we would have played with that sound a little bit more. I think, but other than that, I think the link's good.
Yeah. Didn't this come out on vinyl recently too? Wasn't it? Didn't I see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did,
To Live a Lie put that out.
That's awesome. I didn't even get one. That's a bummer. Did it turn out pretty well?
Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah.
It went
They're gone.
really, really good.
They're gone. That's awesome. What's the touring like for this? I remember living in. I was booking shows in Wichita, and I think you guys played in Lawrence at like a house. And I was like, I want to go to that show, but I couldn't. I think I was married at the time, and I just had like kids and stuff, and I just couldn't make the trip. But I remember being like, oh my God, Codeseven's playing, this house show in Lawrence or whatever. Yeah, what's the touring like for this? Are you seeing people knowing your songs? And what's this like?
Yeah. Well, first off, John? Is that the house show that everything got set on fire?
I believe
probably.
that.
Yeah, that was an insane. That was one of the funnest shows we ever played. Was that house?
Dang it, I missed it.
Yeah, it was insane. The couch got set on fire. It was insane. I thought everyone was gonna die.
Oh God!
But no one did. But touring on that album we did our first full U.S. tour. We made it all the way to Los Angeles and Seattle with, and we did that with Undying.
Oh, nice.
Who took us out, and super great band, good friends, and it is the funnest thing I've ever done touring wise, because it was a lot of first, and to do it with Undying was very special. And that's my favorite tour we've ever done. And then we did a lot of regional stuff as well. But then we kind of get to we're about to split with Dave, and and then we have to regroup. So touring really picks up in the next record. But
yeah. John, what was the touring like from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of regional and probably 1 week, 2 week tours, like full U.S. I think Undying was the only one we did on that record, and that was our first one. But we
did Poison the Well, a lot of Poison the Well shows.
Like the flyer that you shared with me, that was probably we did a few runs.
Oh, that's right, that was around that time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was. I mean, I don't know. Like we played with them several times, and they were became the first time we went to Florida. We just, I guess we ended up on the same show and became friends. And I don't think they had a record out yet. I don't think. But we started trading shows.
Was coming out, yeah.
Right before Opposite came out, yeah. And we started trading shows with each other, and then they started doing really well, and they kept asking us to go. They were doing short runs on the East Coast, and kept asking us to do stuff.
That's awesome.
Here and there, so
great dudes.
Yeah,
they're great guys.
Oh,
yeah, they're amazing.
That's awesome.
I mean, the tour we did with them, the last tour was them, American Nightmare, Every Time I Die, 18 Visions, and us.
Oh my God.
Which is just an insane tour.
Absolutely.
Crazy lineup.
If that came out today, it'd probably be an arena.
Yeah. Poison Well's doing really good. Their new record's really,
so good.
Really awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you mentioned and alluded to obviously a member change after this record. Kind of bring me through that from your perspectives, and what's maybe led to that, or not again. I'm not looking for anything salacious, but just kind of your viewpoint on that. And then of course the drastic sound and change, which you kind of mentioned, alluded to, kind of headed that way somewhat, but it is stark difference. Kind of bring me through the change and sound and the member leaving, and we can go with you first, James.
It was just like the last song on Division is a song called Leeches of Karma, which is not on Spotify right now, but it's 100% melodic. And Dave didn't really sing on that, and that's kind of where there was tensions brewing, and then it just ended up, we just decided to part ways, and and then Dave started another band after that, after he left. But for us, it was just like, okay, well, if we want to change a style, now's the time to do it, since there's a lineup change. And actually, originally, the first stuff we were writing, from my perspective, was try to write the heaviest record possible, and Neurosis through Silver and Blood was probably our go-to heavy at that time, and that was kind of the intentions, was not to go lighter, it was to go heavier. And but it was you had like Dillinger's Calculating Infinity,
Sure.
Until Your Heart Stops. There's so much. I felt like heavy had been conquered in this scene. Like, it wasn't going to get any better than what Coalesce or Botch and all them were doing. And it just felt like, well, maybe we should try something different. It's like, let's not try to out heavy anybody. Let's just change courses. And that's what we did. And it was, I don't even remember really writing it. I just remember trying to try new things. Like, I remember putting a TV in our writing session and putting movies on to try to inspire us, but which didn't really work at all. But going the sound we did was because I was talking to a friend that at a show, and everybody was obsessed with OK Computer by Radiohead.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, okay, Texas is the reason. All these bands we love, they're great, but why doesn't anybody do Radiohead and incorporate that into the sound too? And that was the spark. It's like, you know what? Let's try to add some of that into what we're doing. And and that's kind of like this. You go into the more post-hardcore area, but it was definitely influenced by OK Computer and Bjork's Homogenics to bring that into the hardcore scene. Essentially, that's what we were trying.
That's
to do.
awesome. I was going to ask you what the influences were in OK's a flawless record. Huge impact on my part. Yeah, John, kind of bring me through. Your viewpoint on the change in sound, and I love the old stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I think you guys completely reinvented yourself, and those are some of my favorite records from you guys. So yeah, kind of bring me through that change from your perspective.
I would just say it was like it was us kind of entering the college years, and wanting to experiment and see what's on the other side and whatnot.
Sure.
Yeah, because I think any band that starts in high school and stays together and keeps putting out music and releasing it, the ideas that you have in high school probably aren't going to be as long lasting. Sure. You know what I mean? And then we, as you know, Coalition is different than Division, and then now Division is different than the Rescue. So we're always morphing and trying to push ourselves. At some point, the changes become more about like pushing ourselves and like and how we write and what we write, and can we outdo or challenge ourselves with new ways to do things. But I would say the Rescue is us just basically entering college and finding weed, I guess. I don't know. And it's just kind of like we want to get into something that felt a little more serious, and experimental, and like we wanted to, see if we could push ourselves, in a way that we didn't really see anybody else around us doing, and which is what, again, like, for better or worse, and in a lot of cases I would say worse, but we just love to see if we can just like go some corner where nobody else is at, and maybe hope that people
are into it,
find us in this little corner.
Just piss off all our fans, and that's what it did.
Wow,
because we got death threats.
People.
Oh wow, good lord!
When this came out, like for leaving the hardcore scene, we were getting emails like, "You can't fucking leave the hardcore scene," and it was.
And we didn't really leave the hardcore scene. Like some of the shows,
we still played hardcore.
Poison the Well, we're still doing nothing but hardcore shows. We just don't quite sound the same.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anymore, or some of the songs we're blending them together at that point. But But yeah, it was just trying to get weird and push ourselves,
Yeah.
That's how I see that record. It's just like we got really inspired by the Brit rock scene and some electronic scene, and it just felt like things were being pushed way farther in these styles than the hardcore scene, where, especially at the time, where we're doing a lot of shows they're not package tours yet. We haven't really started that world of package tours for the most part. So you're playing maybe with a band, but then you're playing with locals every night.
Yeah.
So every show you get to kind of see what the local bands sound like, and you start to realize they all sound the freaking same, and nobody seems to be trying anything new. And they all look the same. They all sound the same. Most of them probably did not even play outside of their hometown, but they had maybe a little bit of a following in their hometown. But it just seemed like, not all. We played with some really good local bands too, I will say.
Sure.
But you started to see a trend, especially on the Division days where we're doing nothing but hardcore shows, and it was just like every town, like it was like the same band. It was a different band, but it was the same band.
Yeah.
It was really weird, and I think that really, really, really inspired us to be like, are we like that? We're not like that, are we? We're, to where we're, the same too, and we just don't know it, because I feel like that was one of the things that definitely was like, you know what, let's
do something different.
Let's go out on the edge a little bit.
Yeah. Well, this record, The Rescue, I absolutely love it. I remember when I first heard it, I kind of in my mind thought, oh, it's going to be like the last one, which I loved, of course, Division. And then I heard this and I was like, whoa, like complete change. But love this record. Absolutely love it. What was the recording like? I know you said, James, you can't remember much of it, but who did you do this guys with, or do this record with, and did this turn out the way you guys wanted it to?
This was done with Alex Newport, who had kind of just came off with doing At the Drive-Ins.
Okay.
Which one was that?
In
Casino Out.
Okay.
In Casino Out.
Yeah, and our label's the one that kind of, Music Cartel had just worked with Alex and kind of was just like, hey, let's get Alex down to you guys and to do this last record.
Alex was in Fudge Tunnel, which was an Eric band.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So it's kind of a full circle with, LeMaster's probably signed Fudge Tunnel. I think he signed Sleep too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of, he's part of our world, but then he's even more part of our world after doing like In Casino Out, and he had just done the first Mars Volta Tremolant EP, I believe it was.
Wow.
Yeah. Which hadn't came out yet, and we got to hear that before it came out.
That's crazy.
Which was pretty awesome.
Yeah. But it was a lot of fun. We did Fidelatorium Studio here, which is super, super amazing studio. Very nice. And it was he got the demos from LeMaster, not even really the demos. He got Division of Labor from LeMaster's. So he flew out and he stayed with us at our house, and he heard our demos for The Rescue. And he was like, what is this? He's like, this is not the same band. And he had a meltdown. He's like, because I think we had 6 days to record and mix this record. He's like, it's impossible. I can't do this. He didn't tell me you guys sound like this now. And because, so it was the most stressful recording session ever. And it would start in the morning and would go as late as we could. And it was nonstop coffee, and he kind of tricked us too, because we wanted to record with Kurt. We did drums first, and then you do the bass, and you track the guitars, and then Alex was like, "Okay, well, let's all set up in the big room and start playing." And so we think we're tracking drums, and then he starts getting guitar sounds. I'm like, "Okay, that's kind of weird." And then we start recording, and it's like, "Okay, let's move on." It's like he was actually tracking us, and so the whole band was recorded at the same time for The Rescue, and which we did not want.
Wow.
And he was like, we're gonna run out of time, there's no other way to do this, and we were all mad.
He wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong anyway. If anything, he was more right than we were.
Yeah.
If he was more than right, and he did exactly what he needed to do and should have done, because none of us knew that it was going to be a little hard to get it recorded.
Well, I mean, it's always a short time frame, like less than a week for everything we've ever done in that time period. So we just assumed that, this wasn't a heavy record at all, so that it would be the same. But it wasn't, and then it just caused. I don't think Jeff was quite prepared because this was totally different. There's no Dave now with him, and it was another world, and we didn't have time to do the overdubs that we really wanted to do. And I just remember being angry, and when we finished the record and I remember listening to it, I was just like, we're done, we're toast, is what I thought. So yeah.
Well, you mentioned earlier kind of getting ripped to shreds and maybe like the zines and whatnot, but do you feel like this record got good reviews? I just would have. Yeah. I think it did. I was say I would think it did. Yeah. What was that kind of? Was that validating at least?
Yeah. I mean, it was, and it took us to a whole nother level. Like it's interesting because with the CD release show for The Rescue was I think it was at CBGB's, and it turned into a label showcase for where we were going to go to.
Wow.
And it was just like, and it was every major label was there to see us, and we didn't know that, and word had just spread. And then you have bands like Thursday that have done amazing, and then it's just the post-hardcore world. Jimmy World does amazing, and then there's these A&Rs. This is before My Kim and Fall Out Boy's about to blow up, but there's a path. Glassjaw's doing great, and then everybody's looking for this next thing in this world now. And then we just happen to jump into it by accident in some ways. And then it was the weirdest time period for our band was when The Rescue came out. But then we never had a booking agent. No booking agent would touch us. Even to this day, no booking agent will touch us because they don't know what they're going to get. Like, well, what Codeseven is this? It's hard to sell us to an audience when we're all over the place.
Absolutely.
And I understand that. That's fine. But we could have stayed on the road for nonstop for years. Just bands kept offering us all these tours, and we stayed out as long as we could. But yeah, it was a weird, tough time. And you were kind of leaving the DIY scene at this point too, which was hard. I think it was really hard for me. Like the Puddle of Mud singers coming out to our LA show, trying to he's got a label, he's looking to sign us, and it was just a weird time period. But The Rescue, it worked. I didn't think it was going to work, but it did work, and this took us to this other level, which was a lot of fun, but very, very scary.
I bet. John, what are your thoughts on this record? And kind of bring me. Your brother mentioned touring with whoever. What were some of those bands that you toured with?
With this record, we got management. John Bambino, Jason Rudolph started managing us, which really, really was pretty big. Because we're not the type of people that's probably, we just wanted to do the music. We're not thinking about that stuff. So I remember adding them on, and that was a big deal. Definitely was not happy with the recording. I was very disappointed, very upset when we finished it. It felt unfinished. If there was one record that I would be want to go back and re-record and kind of almost even rework the songs, because it felt like at least maybe vocally it wasn't there. It was a little on the spot. Let's figure it out. It didn't, and but so it was disappointing. So but the reaction to it was really good. So yeah, this is when things really pick up and we really start touring, and the scene is changing a little bit here, where At the Drive-In gets on MTV, Thursday gets on MTV, and then people are starting to look and Yeah, it's not as weird as the next record, but like things are starting to bubble up, and you could tell the shows are getting bigger, and or the tours that we're doing. A lot of the bands that we're touring with, like Poison Wells, signed into a major. You start seeing our friends' bands that we play house shows with, and now they're like on a tour bus, on the Warped Tour. Things are starting to change, and it's really, really odd. It was. I'm glad I got to see it all and be in the middle of it to a certain extent. But yeah, things are getting a little interesting and kind of weird and uncomfortable for sure.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean,
but lots of great tours. Like we meet the Dredge guys.
Oh, Dredge is
on
great.
this,
yeah.
and we started.
I saw you guys with them actually. Now I think about it, I saw you guys in Kansas City with Circa and Animals as leaders. Maybe I don't remember.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
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 2010.
Yeah. That was kind of that was our first
met,
like kind of little reunion tour after the breakup.
Yeah.
That was 2010,
that's right.
I think.
2010.
Yeah, I was living in Wichita. That was
the
Beaumont in Kansas
we meet
City.
Dredge and.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, lots more touring, lots more national touring, and us and Dredge. We probably played more shows with them than any other band.
Easily Dredge's.
Yeah,
Coheed and Cambria tours, Static Lullaby.
Wow.
Poison the Well tours. Decibel-y. It was a lot, and it was a lot of fun. But it was starting to grind on us for sure, and then that would affect how we go into the next record.
Yeah, sure. You obviously signed with Equal Vision. Like you mentioned, having that CD release show and all those labels showing up. I'm assuming Equal Vision was there. Why Equal Vision? And I love this label. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just curious what your thoughts were on signing with the label. Go ahead, James.
It was a very easy decision. When we're touring on The Rescue, there's still I would say Atlantic. I think it was Atlantic Records, or maybe Columbia and Atlantic were the ones that were okay, we're gonna make you an offer. We think so. It's just you're just playing this dog and pony show, and I think Warner Brothers was one of them. And then they wanted to hear a new song, and we recorded a song called "Suggestive Humans" locally here with Doug, who did Paper Plastic and Cis Coalition, and they were like, "Oh, this doesn't sound like the song The Rescue." We were just like, "No, it doesn't sound like the song The Rescue." We didn't want it to. And then I think ultimately, we just kind of we got fed up.
We got fed up. The things were still happening, but they weren't happening at a fast enough pace for us. And we're hitting that spot to where I'm about to have my first kid. So I'm definitely thinking I got to pay the bills if I'm going to keep doing this, because we're kind of grinding. We're kind of grinding. So, but at the same time, it's just we're running in circles with these labels a little bit, right. And so we told our lawyer. Kill all negotiations with majors, which she was not happy about at all, because there was quite a few that she had these I don't know what it was. We just said, whoever you talk to, if it's a major label, tell them sorry, we're not interested. She was
like, well, who do you want to sign with? We're like, Equal Vision, because Equal Vision had Coheed.
We had just
This Day Forward. We toured This Day Forward, and a lot of the bands were we were really close with, and they were kind of selling us to Equal Vision at that point too. So when our lawyer started talking to Equal Vision, it literally, I feel like it took a week, and we were signed to Equal Vision. So,
I think it's a great label for you guys. When mentioning those bands, you guys are kind of somewhat similar in terms of just creativity wise, and Equal Vision's a great label, and they take care of their bands, and it seems like a good fit for you guys. Dancing Echoes, Dead Sounds, man, one of my favorite records of all time, for real. Absolutely awesome. Love this thing front to back. kind of bring me through recording this record, John. What was the recording like for this? I hope this turned out the way you guys wanted it to. It's flawless to me.
This was the first record where we did have. I think we had 3 weeks in the studio,
almost a month,
close to a month, almost a month. This was very different. We ended up recording with Mike Birnbaum and Chris Bittner at Applehead Studios in Woodstock, New York.
Okay.
They're the team behind Coheed. They did their first 2 or 3, 4 records.
Oh wow!
They've done a lot of their records, I'm not exactly sure how we got hooked up, but I think Mike came to us. Probably maybe because of the Coheed tour, and he listened. I don't know, but when he heard that we were doing a record, or maybe Dan at Equal Vision did some. I don't know, but he basically offered us a deal that we couldn't refuse. Like with studio time versus the budget we have, like to get a month, and he had the one thing that we had never done before, which was Pro Tools, which we were dying to do a digital record. Sorry. My phone is falling here. Because we everything else that we had done was on 2-inch tape.
Yeah.
Which is great. I know a lot of people nowadays would kill to do an analog record because that's a lot harder to pull off these days. But we were always limited with tracks because we wanted to layer and layer and layer. So they had Pro Tools, and they offered us a play, and they had a cabin we could stay at.
Wow.
And they basically made the budget work, and got us like everything that we needed. So the recording was there. We had so much time, and it felt like you see the documentaries and whatnot of the old school bands getting their little cabin and going out in the woods and recording their record and spending all this time, and this kind of felt like that. It was like, oh, this is real. It was magic. Like we really got to work out everything in a way that we've never been able to do up to that point. Nothing but super awesome memories going up there to Applehead.
That's awesome. James, tell me your perspective.
Applehead was great. It was a lot of fun. I think the writing was tough for me on this record. It was a lot of, I think the touring and then having to pay bills when you get home was really, It was just weighing on me. And I had like writer's block for this record. Like there's not a lot of me on this record as far as like starting songs and finishing songs like the previous records. And it was. I just remember being stressed out the whole time. Like I think just and going through that process with all those major labels, like it was just. I liked the record a lot. I think it turned out great, and I wish my headspace was better and I could have contributed more. But it was a lot of fun to make that record though, for sure.
Did it was the songs were all written before you went in, or was it something you kind of wrote in the studio? What was that like?
Yeah, everything was written at our place, our band house, and we had demoed most of it too, and it was just it was like as soon as we signed with Equal Vision, there's now a deadline, and there's a date, an album release, and we'd already been working on it for a while, and it was just it was a new way to write. We were writing almost entirely on the computer too, and not as a band. Like we didn't play almost any. If you asked us when we got to the studio to play those songs in the live room together, I don't think we could have played any of them together.
Wow.
And it was a different way, and that's kind of how we did the next record.
We like to, as I've said, we like to challenge ourselves. When we want to challenge ourselves with writing, it's not just writing. Sometimes it's how we write and how we record. And for this record, it was very much. It was like let's let's use the computer to its fullest. Like, you know, like we had before that, we had dabbled with writing riffs on a computer, maybe trying to work out a harmony on a computer or whatever. But this, you know, it's 2002. You know, it's not easy. And so 2003, 4, we get a nicer computer and it can kind of handle more. And I don't know, it was a conscious decision to be like, let's write this on the computer. Let's not do it together, because we were getting different results. We were writing with moods and vibes first. That was the goal for that record. Every song had to have its own a vibe. It should feel like it's its own thing.
Sure.
So like, and none of the songs will sound similar. And we were able to pull that off with a computer. Like, I mean, it was kind of easy. When you put us in a room together to write music, our hands and the way we play, they want to do a certain thing, and you get a certain sound, which is going to sound a lot closer to The Rescue. But with dancing, we were getting. It was just stuff that we would never be able to write in a room together, which I found extremely interesting. And I think all of us were like, let's go with this. I will say, like, when we got done with the record, I thought at the time that The Rescue and dancing were pretty similar. I was like, we did it, guys. First time we put back-to-back records out that sound kind of like each other. And then turns out like nobody thought it sounded like The Rescue. It's completely different, even though you know, and I get it is different, but I thought we had finally done a record, you know, back to back that was like kind of the same band, but a lot of people said otherwise on that point. But the computer and yeah, we couldn't play those songs. We had never played any of those songs together when we went there.
That's insane.
But any of the electronic segues, a lot of the electronic music parts that are on the record, those were recorded. Those were straight from our demos, just plopped in.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is might make you laugh, but I feel like this is the OK Computer of hardcore. Like I just think it's the OK. Yeah. I really do. I truly mean that.
Well, thank you. I mean, that's like the best compliment you could.
Yeah.
give.
Well, when you said that earlier, I was like, that literally to me is like, you guys kind of just did something that was so far out there in the best way possible. And that's why to me, and I just absolutely fell in love with this record. I listen to it probably once a month at least. Still.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, man. What was the touring like for this? And did you get good reviews on this too? I mean, I feel you have to have had. I don't know.
There were solid reviews from what I remember. I feel like I think we were getting compared to Failure too at this point.
That's not a bad thing.
No, not at all. I mean, Failure was a big part of our change because we were just obsessed with Fantastic Planets.
We got
great
really
record.
obsessed.
Great
with
record.
Fantastic
Yeah, and but yeah, the reviews were good, I think, and the tours. I think we did more with Dredge. We did a Seosin and Berlin tour.
Oh, nice.
Man, we did a lot of touring on this. Well, we did until we broke up, because we broke up on tour, on the Seosin tour.
Rough.
So that was one of those times where I think it just hit a point. I mean, it's too much touring with not enough money being made.
Yeah,
and
I get
like
that.
the band supports itself great. If we had no bills, so we stayed on the road the whole time. Yeah, we're good. But when you get off and you got to pay bills, it's just like, you know, eventually there's a breaking point, and that's where we hit. That's why we.
I had a kid in the same year.
Yeah,
like he was born, and then like a month later, you know, we went to Woodstock. So I started missing tours on the dancing stuff because, like, you know, I had like real responsibility for the first time. Like moving into somebody's closet was always an option, and you know, and to stay on the road and whatnot. You know, we were all happy to do that. Yeah. We were all happy to literally give everything we made to put towards being able to tour. We never really cared too much about money, and we always took support slots. We never really worried about trying to do a headline tour or anything like that. We always felt if we were going to be out, let's like try to grow.
Yeah.
So, but the support slots don't always pay that great.
Sure.
It became like we're a decade into the band at this point, and I've now got a kid, and I'm starting to miss tours, and the pressure is definitely trying to make ends meet at home, and then but also never be at home. It starts to take its toll a little bit on everybody.
Absolutely.
Like it was a really, really, really odd. A lot of people call us the band's band and whatnot. Which I don't know if we knew at the time it was that, but like in hindsight, we can see like, we never built a huge fan base, but the bands seemed to really like what we did and like that we were being kind of weird, and so we had the opportunity to literally stay out year round if we wanted to. But it was always support slots, and their management is trying to pay us as little as possible, and so it just became
It was unsustainable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, was that difficult when you did break up, in the fact that obviously you're headed in this direction? Hey, this is not sustainable. This isn't something. And then 3 weeks after you broke up, you're like, oh, I'm not in this band again. Yeah. What's that like to deal with?
I would actually say it wasn't necessarily the band breaking up. The band breaking up was amazing for a little bit because there was no schedule, there was no shows booked for 6 months out. Everything was canceled.
It was like kind of like a huge relief.
Yeah, it's just wow.
I get that.
There's nothing here.
We have nothing we have to do.
But there's a fraternity that you're a part of with this scene and these bands, and it's like when you're not in this band, you're not a part of that. I mean, you are, but you're not really a part of it.
You're on that side looking in.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You don't have any of that other stuff anymore, and that was the hardest part. Really,
sure,
was like losing that was harder than the band breaking up. I think because that's your identity at this point, and
exactly. It felt like you kind of lost your identity.
Yeah,
and they definitely felt like there was a little bit of like, oh, well, you're not in the band anymore. Well, okay, we'll talk to you later. It was definitely, it sounds crazy because we didn't have any clout anyway, but but there was some just like even like hometown people where it's like it kind of felt like, oh, no band, then we'll go somewhere else. So it kind of there was a little bit of that, which was kind of surprising.
That sucks.
So that was a bummer, but I would say overall it was like
I
felt so free.
Sure.
It was really it was a great feeling.
Yeah. Sure. How long after the breakup do you start Telescreen, and kind of what led to bring me through what led to Telescreen? Let's go with you, James.
Yeah. Telescreen was it was probably 2 years after Codeseven had broken up, and we all started talking again. We talked about doing Codeseven again, and even Jeff was in Telescreen at one point. And we didn't want the baggage of the name Codeseven because because our sound is all over the place, and to this day it's still kind of an issue. We still have people that's like, are they going to play the old stuff? Because some people only like the old, some people only like the new, and it's still baggage we have right now. But so we changed the name to Telescreen, and then Jeff ended up not being a part of it, and we got Jared from Classic Case, who was already a close friend of ours, to join. And but the idea was, I think John and mine's favorite show we ever saw was Nine Inch Nails 1994 on the Mr. Self-Destruct tour.
Wow!
And they did the Hurt. The video for Hurt, I think the original one with the screen coming down, like it just covered the entire stage, and then they projected lights behind them so you could see through, and it was a magical show. And the idea for Telescreen was we're going to replicate that live for our show, which involved projectors, this theater scrim, all these lights. It was a lot. We had no money, and we to try to put this together was insane. And that was kind of the idea. It was just like, well, let's just take some music and see if we can pull this idea off live. And I think we did. I think it was a lot of fun, and it did work. And
it was successful.
Yeah.
But it was a shit ton of work.
It was a lot of work.
It was, and we were tied to the video because it all had to sync up. So it made changing the set or
it was impossible.
Adding some. It was a nightmare.
At that time, technology now is like it's one button push now, but back then, it wasn't there yet. So
Absolutely.
I mean, we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with Telescreen. We did some tours. We did Dredge tour, which was a lot of fun to try to pull off a 15-minute changeover with a massive screen that takes up. Yeah. But then Jared got married, and then we signed with Tragic Hero, and but we never actually released an album with them. Telescreen just kind of.
I think they maybe have the 6-song demo or whatever it was we did. They may have that.
They may have the rights
to
that.
Own that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
So you put out Solar Sea by yourselves?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We self-released that. Yeah.
Why didn't Tragic Hero do it? What was kind of the thought?
Well, we broke up before we actually.
I gotcha.
Well, it kind of disbanded after we signed that deal. We could never figure out what the next move for Telescreen was, and at that point, I think Circa Survives Brendan had messaged us because we had done one Codeseven reunion show, and they're like, "Do you want to go on tour?" We're like, "Yeah." So everything kind of moved back to Codeseven. Telescreen just kind of fell to the wayside at that point.
How do you guys feel about that Solar Sea record? Briefly,
I like it.
I thought it turned out great. We recorded that ourselves. I think Matt mixed and mastered it. I mean, I think it turned out solid. There was for me anyway, I was more involved in the video side of that because I had the kid. I was full on kid mode, and I couldn't make it to the writing sessions. So musically, I didn't contribute as much to that one as dancing, which is I'm like all over that one. So I took a back seat on that, the writing, the music, but all the video was pretty much me. If you saw the live show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was my way to contribute without having to leave the baby. So I did a lot of that stuff at home. But I think there was it was such a insane challenge to try to pull off with no budget. And then try to think about how can this change sizes for different stages.
That sounds like a headache.
Yeah. Because the first show we played was I think with He Is Legend at the Lincoln Theater. It's a big venue, and then maybe the next show is like the Brewery in same city, Raleigh, oddly enough, and it's tiny. It's like a 100-cap room, and it's like how do you
Yeah.
Right. So there's so many challenges, and then how do you do the changeovers and stuff, and can we make it what we have in our head, and we did. I think in a lot of ways for me it was almost like we did it. Like I've never felt like the need to even revisit it because it felt very fulfilling. And that can we create this concept that's in our heads and pull it off. And we did, and it was an insane amount of work and so high pressure, probably more high pressure than anything Codeseven had done.
Wow.
With having to sync everything together and get on stage still with quick changeovers and the sync and whatnot. But it was extremely gratifying, and for me and maybe them too. I felt like. Once when Jared got married, I mean, I always kind of felt like done with it in a lot of ways because I felt like we did it. Like it almost felt more like an art. I consider it an art project.
Yeah.
That just kind of came to an end, more so than anything else.
I mean, I would definitely agree that it was. I think the most successful thing we ever did was actually pull off that vision with the screen for a live show, and but the problem with Tragic Hero was they wanted a new record, and then it was like, well, it's a visual project, so we were going to do kind of like this DVD type of release that had the music on it, and we were talking with directors out in LA, and that we're going to shoot stuff, and our music and then the visuals were going to go on top, and then those visuals would go to the live show, and it just didn't. We couldn't figure it out. The different stuff the directors were sending us just was not right, and then we started to just shoot it ourselves, but we didn't know what we were doing. It was too much work, and then Jerry got married, and it was just like, you know what, let's just leave this. This is a good spot. So that was it.
Well, it's a great record, by the way.
Thank you.
You know, the Solar Sea. And you mentioned obviously Codeseven kind of coming back and doing the reunion. And you know, did a couple tours, I assume, but it took you a while to put another record out. Go Let It In, man. Absolutely great record. Bring me through recording this record. You know, memories and whatnot. I know you worked with Jeremy Griffith on the vocals, who's a dear friend of mine. Kind of bring me through this record. Let's go with you, John, and then just your thoughts on it and memories from it.
This all of this stems from basically Furnace Fest and Chad from Furnace Fest when he starts putting it together for the comeback right before COVID, and because there had been things that came our way and various things, but I don't know. Half the band wasn't really into doing anything and saw it as a dead thing, you know. So the last thing we had done was 2010, the Circus Survive tour, and then Chad, gets in contact with me, and then I relay it, and then everyone's like, no, but Chad is very persistent. And the Furnace Fest guys, it took a minute, but eventually, everyone said, agreed to it.
Eventually,
which
they offered
I was
up
kind of
money.
shocked.
Fair enough.
It was. Everybody eventually said yes. So that's kind of how we ended up doing that show, which is about a decade after our last show or so. Maybe there was one show in between, but for the most part, we hadn't really done anything, and it was not on the horizon. So once that's done, COVID happens and it gets pushed back a year.
Sure.
I credit that for why Codeseven did any music, because it forced us to kind of in this limbo.
Sure.
For an entire year.
Yeah.
To where normally we would just start practicing a month before, try to get things tight, and then go play it and it's done. But, we had started practicing, and then they ended up, announcing we're going to hold off for an entire year. And we'd already started practicing at that point. And so we were in a spot where we couldn't put it to bed because in a year we had this show we had to play because of COVID. So it kind of forced us to, we kind of got into Codeseven mindset and the group text and trying to figure stuff out. And I feel like that is really COVID, I guess, in a lot of ways, is how we ended up starting to write Go Let It In. So after Furnace Fest, and Beloved does a reunion show as well, and we play in Winston, and we do that show with them, and that's when we start writing Go Let It In, and it took us 2 years pretty much to write. It was a very hard, long, difficult process. Yeah. We recorded it ourselves at the studio, Matt's
Most
studio.
of it. Jeremy did some of the vocals.
And Jeremy did some of the vocals and keyboard too, I think. Yeah. In Florida, but COVID is. I would credit COVID with why there's I think without COVID there's probably, and without Furnace Fest and COVID there probably wouldn't be another record, or us doing anything. But and a little after that, the festival, we started writing, but took a while.
Yeah.
Did this turn out the way you guys wanted it to? I mean, I think it's a fantastic record.
Yeah, I think. I think it turned out great. I mean, Jeremy Griffith did an amazing mix job.
Yeah, he's a monster.
And he was great, and he really worked with us. And it was the right record because I think we had talked about what do we want to do, and there were some crazy ideas to keep pushing it. like a year before we started Furnace Fest, I was like, if we did another Code 7 record, it's got to be a grind record with 30 songs, and that fits our narrative
That's
of
the
what
MO.
we've done. Yes, exactly. But by the time we get to actually writing it, we don't want to go too far away from where dancing was. Essentially, we're trying to. It's been 20 years. Can we get up to a level that's close to where we left
to
off?
where it sounds like, oh yeah, this sounds like it would probably, if they had stayed a band, this is probably what it would have sounded like.
Right.
And on a level that where we were at with dancing and when we broke up, like there was no putting out like whatever, you know what I mean? Like it had to meet a certain standard,
Sure.
or there was going to be no record. And there is so much music that got pushed to the wayside.
Oh my.
Because it took us a minute to get back to that level, because we hadn't done a ton of stuff since then, but we weren't going to settle for like it like the idea of just writing more music, like that's not an option, like it's got to be at the level that we were at, or we just don't do anything, or it can come out under a bar band with a different name, whatever, but it can't under if it's going to come out on Code 7's name, it's got to be at that level. And I would say, like, I mean, the amount of stuff we scrapped and threw away, and the amount of time it took to get some members back up to form, I mean, it took a long time, and it was
a very painful.
It was not pretty.
Yeah,
Very
it was not pretty.
process.
I believe it.
Yeah.
But
But
Yeah, go ahead.
we're all very, very happy with it, and I do think I think there's catchiness and there's stuff that I really like from this record, and I think Division is my go-to, but Go Let It In would be number 2 right now, but I also think that it's a safe record, and I think we pushed it into a spot where we're sitting outside of where everyone is right now, and it's kind of a weird place to be musically, because I don't even know what genre Go Let It In we would even put it in, to be honest with you, like, and I don't know, it's a weird place to be where this record currently sits.
There's with Code 7 and having a 20-year break, there's a lot of reflection that has happened over the years, and then I personally see Code 7 as more of a hardcore band. Musically, we don't sound that way, but I think at the end of the day, because when we did dancing, we were pushing. Our dream was to like become part of that Brit rock scene, the Dubs and all that stuff, and we were so done with the hardcore scene. But like, I think that was probably a mistake on our part to see things that way. And when we did Go Let It In, and in hindsight, and you look at the festivals and the shows and all the things that we get offered, it's pretty obvious. Like 30 years in, like we're a hardcore band. Like, and we're always going to be centered. People are going to think of us as that kind of band. Travis hasn't come knocking on the door for us to go on tour, so and that's exactly where I feel most comfortable and at home. So musically, though, we didn't really cater that much. I think the goal with Go Let It In was to try to feel like where we left off with dancing, and kind of stay with that idea. So that record, Go Let It In, was written all on a computer as well, intentionally. And I would say, with the exception of one song, if you asked us to play those before they recorded, we couldn't do it either.
Wow.
Like, I mean, we mirrored the sessions very similarly. It's a little less electronic. It's a little less loopy. Like, in dancing, we were using a lot of drum loops, or we would create drum loops, but we weren't able... We didn't know what we were doing, so we couldn't figure out how to get out of the loop. So a lot of the songs, we just used the loop the whole time and tried to make it work. And But now we could get out of the loop. So I feel like there's more ups and downs and dynamics and changes with this, just because we gotten better with that. But yeah, I mean, we really went into this after a lot of arguing about which way to go. It was, decided, let's just try to create the record that sounds like it could have came after Dancing. If there's new music ahead, though, it probably wouldn't be going that way. It would definitely, I think, for me anyway, fall more into the line of like, well, look, we're pretty much we're a hardcore band, and like, and I do, like James said, I think Division is probably our best record. And I know that sounds weird, and I know a lot of people completely disagree with that, but I don't know. When I put that on, it just like, it just works for me. And I think the Rescue it sounds unfinished and half written to me. So and Dancing to me is just us living in Brit rock land in our heads, and in some world that we're not really meant to be in. So it doesn't feel very representative.
Yeah.
To me,
we hate our man,
even though.
You guys should.
So yeah.
You guys should record if you do record again. I know you mentioned Failure earlier, but with Ken Andrews, I'd be interested to hear what that would sound like. I mean,
I actually talked to Ken about mixing the Go Let It In. His rates, man, they were just out of our budget. It was very close, though. We probably could have made it work, but then we found Jeremy, and Jeremy
Griff's
was
great.
like, come down to my place, and we're going to do the vocals, and we're going to get all that tightened up, and then along with all the mixing, and it was like...
There's a lot of advantages. Yeah, it made a lot of sense. He did a great job.
That made way more sense than going with Ken. And I love Ken, and it would have been great to have him mix it, but Jeremy made more sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, Elephant in the Room, when's the next record? How many years do we have to wait for a new record?
Oh man,
there's been music that has been written.
There's new music, and we are actively getting in a room together and writing. What or how or when any of that looks like, I have no idea.
Yeah,
but it's fun. It sounds different than what we just did with Go Let It In. It's fun. I'm not saying it would be a curveball, but if you're expecting another Go Let It In, it would be the exact opposite of that record.
No, I get that.
I can say that much. But we might. I don't know if we can finish this.
We're in those stages of like. I don't know.
Yeah,
there's an okay amount of music, but there's also a lot of getting everybody on the same page.
Totally, absolutely.
A lot of give and take, a little push and pull, which is exactly. It's why the last record took 2 years to write. And not surprisingly, we're going through that again. So, and I can't make any guarantees that we'll get anything, but there are definitely a lot of attempts being made, and we are getting together a couple times a week even to work on it. So
it's exciting.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
I'm bummed I missed you guys at the fest. Was it a year or two ago you played, didn't you?
Oh, you would have missed us even if you could have made it, because we went on like
we played
3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's why I didn't go. That's literally I feel like I reached out to you guys and I was like, I cannot do that. Like that sucks.
That was miserable. Yeah. That was miserable. Yeah,
that's like an hour from my house. So I was like, oh, I would have came down, but then I was like, probably be asleep by that point. Guys, I know you can't predict the future, but what do you think the future looks like for you? Let's go with you first, James.
I think it's just more creativity, more writing, and more just having fun with the guitar and just enjoying that, and just seeing what happens, what comes with all that.
Absolutely, John.
It's the same. I'm predicting I get my way, and that means a lot more music. So let's hope so.
Yeah.
Because if I get my way, then there should be more music.
That's exciting.
but what I want is not what everybody else wants, so that's the problem.
Sure.
So we'll see. But yeah, I think there's definitely music. There's a decent amount that's been half worked on. So, but we're enjoying the process of quitting the band every other week and then getting back in and
tumultuous.
It's not pretty, but that's unfortunately Codeseven. So it's pretty normal.
Absolutely.
So. Yeah.
Well, guys, I've super enjoyed talking to you guys and reconnecting. Super honored to hang out with you guys and give me your time. It's really cool. Kind of peek behind the curtain and just love all the music you guys have been a part of. It's really affected my life. I know a lot of people's as well. But just super stoked that you guys wanted to hang with me for a little bit and tell me your stories. So I really appreciate you guys hanging.
Yeah,
awesome.
Thanks for having us.
For having us,
and it's been a great time and good to see you again.
Hey, listener, thank you so much for tuning in again and again. Really appreciate it, guys. It's awesome for you guys to listen week in and week out. Very, very honored. So thank you again for that. If you'd like to add me on Instagram and Facebook at The Rumors Are True Cast. Also, I have a website, www.therumorsartruecast.com. It's got links to Spotify, Apple Music, all that jazz. So check that out if you're interested in that. Got some merch as well on merchia.com, and there's a link in my Instagram and Facebook bio as well as the website if you're interested in that as well. Thank you to James and Jon Tuttle. Awesome conversation. Super stoked to hang with you guys again, catch up. It's been really cool to see our musical journey and to hear about it as well. So thank you again to James and Jon. Got some incredible artists on the horizon, guys, and you know it, nostalgia is still a heck of a drug. The podcast is produced by Wesley Hill, artwork by Jared Chase Bowser, and music by Brian Jaron. This episode is dedicated to the memory of my dear friend, producer, and man of many talents, Brian Jaron.